highways. They can't speak English, so that means they can't read English, which means they can't read road signs. Mike Kucharski, co-owner JKC Trucking, is with us this morning. Mike, thanks so much for joining us today. Good to see you. Here to discuss this reality. Illegals with no driver's licenses, they're on our roads, they're causing crashes. Some have turned deadly. What are you seeing as a trucker on the roads?
So thank you for having me on your show. So what I'm seeing is that, first I want to thank Sean Duffy because he was the first one to put a spotlight on these illegal drivers with CDLs. And what has happened is, illegals came into the country, went to the States, and, the States said, hey, we got to take care of these people. We're supposed to give them jobs. What they did is give them CDL licenses. CDL means the commercial driver's license is to drive an 80,000-pound truck, which is dangerous. And when you've been watching the news, you're seeing all these drivers getting accidents and killing people on accident. These guys can't read a word of English. My favorite is that there's been two videos, 2 days in a row, truckers going down the wrong way down the highway that didn't speak a word of English, and they have licenses. These truckers are on our roads, and killing, Oh, there you go. There's a video I'm talking about. Yes, this video, it blows my mind that this trucker went the wrong way. He knows he's going the wrong way, and he doesn't stop, ask for help, or turn around. He just continues going down the wrong way, like he owns the place. These truckers cannot be on the road. You know what I mean? Think about it. Every morning we put our kids on the school buses. Millions of commuters head to work in their cars. Millions of families will be traveling down the holidays, and they trust that professionals driving 80,000-pound trucks around them can read road signs, understand commands, and react in emergencies. And just to be clear, this isn't about where someone is from or who someone is. It's about whether they get qualified to operate heavy equipment on public roads.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And this is very dangerous. The video we just saw was out of Missouri this week, trending online because this is what's really going on in our country. And this isn't just a one-time deal. Just this week, during the State of the Union, President Trump invited a little girl named Delilah to be a special guest. She was in a car crash. She was hit by a drunk driver. She barely survived, but she did, and she's beautiful as ever. Let's listen in to the president and then get your reaction.
That's why tonight I'm calling on Congress to pass what we will call the Delilah Law, barring any state from granting commercial driver's licenses to illegal aliens.
So he introduced Delilah's Law. There she is with her father at the State of the Union. What's your thoughts on this? Obviously, you support it, but I also want to ask you, too, as we were just watching that video, you saw the Republicans stand up and the Democrats staying seated.
No, great question, and thank you for asking that. Delilah Law is safety and accountability. The core idea is to prohibit any U.S. state from issuing CDLs to individuals without legal immigration. There is a serious safety crisis on American roads, and pretending it isn't happening is no longer an option. The trucking industry runs on trust. From a safety standpoint, this kind of enforcement matters, and I do support it because we'd never let an unlicensed pilot fly a plane, and trucking deserves the same kind of scrutiny.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And you probably take us through too for myself as well. I'd like to learn more. Clearly for a vehicle of that size, of that magnitude, there has to be some training that goes behind this as well. You just don't give someone a license to drive these large vehicles and say, okay, good luck on the road. There has to be some training behind this, correct?
Correct. So let me walk you through. So let's say you and I want to be a truck driver. First, we would sign up for truck driving school, and that would be about 2 to 3 month process, depending how fast we absorb it. We would be an instructor. We'd be driving. We would get our permit. We would be with an instructor, obviously sitting with us, driving through it. At the end of the program, we would graduate. We would get our license, and we would go look to get more experience. Right. Then you either go to a training program like we have here at JKC. So the training program looks like this. Then we would give you a local job to maneuver around the city, to get you used to the city, with an instructor doing pickups, dealing with traffic, all the hecticness. After 3 months, if you would learn everything and pass everything, then we would put you to do regional work. You would leave the state with an instructor probably at first, and then after we'd let you go to overnight stuff, being 500, 700 miles maximum, and come back to get you more experience. That'd be another 3 months. That'd be about 9 months experience, and then we would put you in a over-the-road truck with a trainer, probably for a little bit, to teach you the ropes to go for multiple states, probably West Coast and back, because those are the right runs we run, to give you more experience running through the desert, through the mountains, through the snow, through all these elements. And then after that, we would let you drive. It would take about a good year to train you. But to give you an idea, it takes a year to 3 years to become a well-rounded trucker. And one thing I saw Sean Duffy goes, hey, look, Sean Duffy went on the news last week, and he says, look, here in America, we have to check a bunch of boxes to become a driver. They check if you had any DUIs, to see if you're a criminal. All these boxes have to be checked before you can even get a CDL. And he was saying, look, these illegal immigrants came, there's no way to check these people. Nobody checked them. I mean, they could be murderers, whatever, the worst case scenario, and they were just given licenses. That's not how it works. We put all these checks and processes to protect the people so this wouldn't happen. And it did happen. And, God bless Sean Duffy for getting on this and doing the work and trying to getting these drivers off the road, because it is, killing American people and innocent people.
Yeah, you're right. And if you were to guess how many of these licenses have been handed out to illegals, what is your estimate? And then also, which state are you seeing this happening the most?
No, it's a great question. So Sean Duffy said it's about 200,000 licenses. And he
Wow.
kind of, at one point, he said that it'd probably be more, right? I belong to a group called the GCCA, the Global Cold Chain Alliance Transportation Group. And at one of the meetings I was talking about, they're saying it's more about the 600 to 800,000 licenses that we're giving. Here in Illinois, they're saying 1 to 5 licenses we're giving to illegals. Sean Duffy also said the worst state was New York. My favorite thing was in New York, they were, not even giving the first name. It was saying no name given. I would love to get one of those licenses that says no name given. And then I would say that another big state is California.
Yeah, I've heard of California, but the other states are interesting. And New York, I would, it's not a surprise, but interesting to hear New York, because we do hear a lot about California as well. When I bring on guests like yourself, Mike, and, we talk about some of the issues going on in America, there's ways that the viewers can help. But if you're driving on the road, kudos to this one driver who took video. It clearly took off on social media of the driver going the wrong way. That's been trending all week. How do we know? How can we help? Like, what do we, I-10 is a corridor that goes from coast to coast. There's lots of interstates all over the country. We see truck drivers. We encounter them every day when we're on the highways. But how do we know if one's illegal? How do we know, who to turn to? What can the American people do?
I mean, that's a good question. And it's hard to point these drivers out because you have to really approach one of them and try to talk to them. And the biggest issue that are having that these guys have zero communication. It's not even they speak broken English, because I have drivers that speak broken English for Los Angeles, but they speak zero English. And, I love that these truckers are posting these videos, but on top of the truckers posting these videos, the troopers are posting these videos of them talking to these drivers and doing these tests, showing them a crosswalk sign, and they cannot identify or tell the trooper what that means. So it's very, very scary. It's going to be hard to point them out, because I can't say these guys exactly. But if you do see a trucker doing strange things, that they're lost or going down the wrong way, there's the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Association has a link. I don't have the link with me right now, but you could look it up and you could report these truckers when this is happening. There's also an 800 number, so I would suggest you call that number if you see something like this, to report this so they could take care of it. And obviously, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration is Sean Duffy, and they're slowly going after carrier after carrier to get these guys off the road, because they should have never been there in the first place.
You're right. And so, yes, we'll do our part to, help out where we can and get these truckers off the roads. Very dangerous, security risk, definitely, for sure. We have a couple of minutes left. I want to ask you, too, if you could tell us the federal EPA rejecting California's plan for out-of-state trucks. Can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, so this is a very interesting situation. California in 2009, 2010 set a one goes to the OEM, which is the original equipment manufacturer, example Volvo, Kenworth, and they said, look, we need particular filters to stop the pollution in the state of California, right? Which I understand. But what the OEM did is they just started making all new trucks with these particular filters, and California was the only state that requested that they should have this. So that's one state out of 50 states, which is crazy that the OEM just automatically went to, because let's say if we have a trucking company that we never go to California, we don't need that particular filter, but we never had the option to not buy it. And just to give you an option, just to give you I paint a picture, this option is like 40 to 45,000, maybe to $50,000 extra on top of the truck, because they're putting this particular filter. You have no option not to not buy it because it just comes with the truck. So this is extra, and then on top of that, there's a lot of maintenance to do with with this particular filter, and there is a lot of parts that are breaking with this system. You know what I mean? And the first systems that came out were such horrible. They were breaking all the time. They're getting better, but it's not a how's this? It's not a great system. You know what I mean? I think that when you want to do just to give you an idea, I support green energy, and I would love, and I believe all the truckers would love to, if do something to help with pollution. You know what I mean? How's this? If you provide us with a good suggestion, we don't have to mandate it. We would be drawn to it. You know what I mean? Because truckers, do care, even though sometimes people paint the picture they do not. But yeah, there's other things we could have done to, make diesels burn cleaner and more efficient instead of putting this system on. Because how's this? I don't like this approach. We could have pushed for better technology. And just to give you an idea, I was out of curiosity. I always checked, how much. I went on Grok and I checked, how much do diesels pollute in the transportation industry? And I got a very interesting number. It said, 9% of all U.S. CO2, because diesels give off CO2 emissions, come from trucks, okay, which is a very low number. But then it said, the transportation sector gives out to 24 to 25% of greenhouse gases, which is a very low number for all the millions and millions of trucks we're using. And just to give you an idea, over 70% of all goods are delivered by trucks. So if we're only polluting 24 to 25%, it's a very low number. If it was like 70, 80%, there'd be difference. I'm curious what other sections are polluting more that have a higher number. And
Right.
there's so many other things we could have done other than this. And I'm so happy that they got rid of this, because this was not the silver bullet to fix things. And you know what it did? It when the system doesn't work, it goes into something called D-rate. Let's say you and I are going down the highway, we're going 60 miles an hour. We go in D-rate mode. It makes us go 5 miles an hour. So we're going to go from 60 to 5 miles an hour. We're barely going to be able to get off to the shoulder. And then we get off to the shoulder, let's say we could find a shop to fix our system 5 miles away. It's going to take us over an hour, because we're only going to be able to go 5 miles an hour. It is a dangerous, dangerous system. One other thing they're doing is they're doing an update so it doesn't go in D-rate. But it's been doing this for years. And, not until this administration came in did this. This costs billions of dollars for lost time and money. We're hauling perishables. We were always late with produce and stuff. That means that when you get your strawberries at the grocery store, you buy them there and they look perfectly, and you bring them home and they're bad 2 days later. These are the one of the effects because of these systems. Millions of dollars wasted. And other countries like Mexico, you could buy a brand new Kenworth in Mexico without this system. So, it always, and pause. There's other countries that are bigger than us. China, India, do you think they use the system? Absolutely not. They do not. So what's the whole point of California thinking they're going to fix the world when you can't? But as this, and then obviously they wanted to mandate electric trucks, and thank God that was taken out, because electric trucks will not do it.
Gotcha. Well, that's a great update. I'm glad we discussed that. We're going to continue to follow that. The Sean Duffy, like you mentioned, doing a great job. And thank God for President Trump, right, and his administration. Mike with JKC Trucking, thank you for joining us. Keep us posted on everything. I'd love to have you back on the show.
Of course. Thank you for your support.